Hey guys, so as we continue off from last video, when the user clicks confirm email, they'll proceed to this page. So as you can see here, it's /user/confirm and the unique ID that was created for us. So what we need to do is we need to extract this ID from the URL. So to do that, to extract the ID, you can use this. You go to controllers, this decorator called params. So example, if you scroll down here, you can see I can extract the ID by saying like this. I can give colon ID and use the decorator called params and get the ID from the params, or else I can add in the key and get the ID from the key. So let's start off by creating a controller. Let's quit out from our server. So to create a controller, we can use the nest CLI. So we can say nest G for generate controller user. So we are creating a user controller. No spec. So no spec is for not creating a test file. So we take a look in the controller. You can see in our user module, the controller has been imported for us. So in our controller, we need to create a get parameter, so get method. So we can do that by saying over here, if you scroll down, you can see you can copy this over, and so let's import this get. So our path is, as you see here, we have created the path /user/confirm and ID. So the root is /user, and after /user we need to create /confirm/ID. So our root is /user, that's coming from the controller. /user is the root, and /confirm/ID. So we can extract this param. So let's import this param over here. So if you give the ID, if you give a key in the parameters, you can get the ID. So now we can see the ID is a string. Let's remove the return value as well, and let's change the function name to confirm email, and let's create a new function in our services called confirm email. So in a user service, let's call the function confirm email, and let's make it async, and we'll also import our parameters is the ID, so it's a string. And also let's import the services from our service, because we can write our function in a controller as well, but we are abstracting it away in our services. So let's dependency inject our service. We can do that by saying constructor, let's make it private, read only, and it's called user service, and it's coming from user service. So let's return this dot user service dot confirm email, and we'll pass in the ID. Now we can concentrate in our user.service function. So essentially what we need to do is we need to check before, like when we are saving the users details in our database, we need to do something. For example, when we log in the user, right, we need to check whether the user has confirmed our email. So to do that, let's create a new entity, a new column in our user entity. Let's copy this. Let's create a column called confirmed, so we can check whether the user is confirmed or not. So we'll make this boolean, and we can make this default to false. So whenever the user gets created, so when we sign up a new user, the column defaults to false. So when we try to log him up, and if we can check if whether the column is true or not. So if it's false, that means the user has not confirmed the email. So we can do that over here, the check. So so what we had to do is we need to extract the user's ID from our Redis database. So we can do that by saying redis dot get, and we can get the user ID like this. So we'll call it const user ID is equal to, so this is a database call, so we'll await it. So we'll get the user ID. So if there was no user ID, that means either the URL's ID, either the ID has expired or they have given us an invalid ID. So what we'll return is, so we take a look in the Nest docs. You come down here in exception filters, you can create exceptions like this. For example, this is what the exception will return, so the status code and error message. So it's better for us to create a not found exception. So we'll throw a new exception, throw new not found exception. So if there is an ID, so if the ID was there, if it exists, so we can update our users column confirmed column. So to update our confirmed column, we can use this dot user repo dot update function. So what we need to do is we need to first set the criteria. So our criteria is the ID. So ID is coming from user ID. So we are getting the user ID from our Redis database. And the second thing we need to say is the partial entity that we need to update. So we can say we need to update confirmed is true. So this is an database call, so we'll await this as well. And let's respond this. Just for now, let's respond it with OK in our URL path. So we'll respond it by saying respond.send OK. So we'll get this response in our parameters. So we'll make it respond as response. So we'll get that interface from Express. So we're importing this from Express. So after everything is set, it will respond OK in our front end. Save this up. So we need to also pass in the response parameter argument over here, so we can get that in our take a look in controllers, get that response over here. So you can see request and response. So let's get that from there. So we'll say at response and we'll call it response. So it should come from Nest column, and let's import response from Express. So let's change this name to as res, so there won't be a conflict between this response and this response. So now let's pass in the response. So this needs to be I think it's an issue of not making this an async function. Actually not imported it properly, so let's change this to as response. Let's change this over here. Now the error has gone away. So I think everything is set right now, so let's try to restart our server again. and create a new user. So let's copy a new email over here, and let's go to our playground localhost 3000-GraphQL. Let's paste this email over here. Now let's create our user by pressing the play button. Okay, so this is an import error over here, you can see. So this is coming from user service. Let's go to our user service and change this imports to a relative path. See, now our user has been signed up. So let's take a look in our database. So what happened actually in our database? So I'll press select. Let's clear this up first. So PSQL voting app. Now select star from users. Now you can see in our database the user we have signed up, and the confirmed is false because we have said in our user.entity default is false. So after we get that email from us, we press the confirm email over here, the link. So the link takes us, and now it responds okay because we have said over here in our function to respond okay if everything has gone okay. So if we take a look in our database again, let's select all from users. You can see confirm to true. And another thing is, I have forgotten to tell you guys how to install Redis. So you can install Redis in Ubuntu by saying sudo apt install Redis server, and after doing this you can check you can enter the Redis CLI by saying redis-cli, and now you'll be in the Redis environment. So now you can check for the keys by saying keys star for all the keys. So now you can see the keys created here for us. So these might be the IDs that we have created. For example, this is one of the ID 8574. So 8574. So these are the IDs. So we can flush the DB as well by saying flush DB. So now all the IDs has been removed. Let's try to see, now our IDs has been removed. Let's try to execute this command again and see what happens. See, now it says status code is 400 because we couldn't find the user ID. So our status code is also working, so everything is working for us. And the other thing to notice here is, because we don't really understand what the ID is, so it's better for us to give a prefix in our ID. So we can do that by saying in our the utility function that we have created, confirm email. So over here we'll give a prefix. So let's create a prefix. Let's make this to a string literal. We'll add in a prefix. So let's create a prefix constant variable right under our service source file. So we'll create a new file called constants. So we'll call it confirm email prefix. Let's export this. Now let's create the prefix confirm email. let's import that prefix over here. So we'll say confirm email prefix. Let's add in the ID as well. So let's copy this thing over here and we paste it over here as well. So I guess we don't really need to do that because we'll be only sending the ID. Okay, so what you have to do is in our app.service, no, in our user.service, we need to add in the ID. I add in the prefix as well to get the ID. So let's do that. So let's import this as well. So we need to confirm your prefix. So it's coming from the source. We need to change this to a relative path. And that is it. So let's take a look by creating a new user. So I've actually in my config typeorm config I've actually set drop schema. So whenever the server starts up, all the schema in our database gets dropped. So let's try to create a new user with the same email. So that is okay because our schema has been dropped actually. So let's start a server first. This seems to come from confirm email link. So this is an importer again. Okay, let's go back and create the same user. Okay, so if you take a look in our Redis CLI, let's search for the keys. Now you can see it says confirm email with the prefix and the UUID. So that is it guys. Thank you guys for watching.